So hi there. Today I want to talk about past lives, what's going on when you heal them, and why that's important. My first introduction to this was maybe about 35 years ago. I was doing a in-person session with a psychic friend of mine, and we started by my saying, I don't know what I want to work on today, but I know it's not anything to deal with past lives. And Peter kind of laughed and said, yeah, I agree that for the most part, that's, psychic tourism unless it's relevant. And then, of course, what we then did was I experienced 5 previous past lives. And what was really interesting was that he would just start doing something, like he'd say, lie on the bed, and he started slapping my feet. And as he did that, all of a sudden I was in a different time and a place. I was still in some sense myself, but I was definitely in a different body with a different history. And as I said, in an hour we went through 5 past lives. And what was fascinating was each of the life had a theme, a problem or a conflict that was still present in my life today. And I remember some years later talking to a therapist about these experiences and said, I can put on my I believe in past lives hat and say, okay, these were past lives where I still had something that was unresolved. Or I can put on my, therapy hat and say, well, these are metaphoric projections of dilemmas in my unconscious mind. And in either case, you don't really have to decide if it's one or the other. It's just if there's a pattern coming out of the experience that relates to your life, and that pattern makes sense, and that when you engage with the pattern and change it, if your life changes, well, then that pattern was useful, whether it was, quote, real or not. Now, since then, I have guided thousands of sessions with clients, and about half of them come back with experiences that they experience and present as being from a past life. So there's some kind of consistency going on there. And then about 2 weekends ago, I was doing a retreat where we were working with healing past lives. It's a shamanic practice of going to a location known as the pool of life and death. And long story short, you're going to 4 extreme lives. Lives where you did something the most, where you suffered the most, where you abused power the most, where you used your gifts the most, and where you experienced the most joy. And the idea is that these most lifetimes are the template for that experience in successive lifetimes. And the big idea of the workshop and the work is to go to, say the lifetime where you suffered the most, and be present at your death in that lifetime so that you can make sure that you received what you needed to rest in peace. And that's really the whole point, is that by giving yourself in the lifetime where you've suffered the most what you needed to rest in peace, you kind of break the momentum that causes further suffering. And the big point of that is twofold. One is many, many ancient traditions have, we have the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we have the Egyptian Book of the Dead, have a profound understanding that this lifetime is not it. That when we die, we go on to other experiences, other levels of reality, to a further evolution of our soul's journey. And that if things are unresolved from this lifetime, or from any lifetime, that creates a repetition. So by healing, by allowing your soul to rest in peace at that extreme point, you're freeing yourself from repeating the theme of suffering, repeating the theme of abusive power, and even repeating positive themes like using your gifts or experiencing joy. And why would that be important? I mean, it was interesting in the retreat, there was a certain amount of resistance from people saying, well, one, I don't know if I want to go look at past lives. That feels a little bit scary and overwhelming. And in fact, in practice, it's actually a surprisingly gentle and easy, quick, kind of a joyful process. But this is where I want to touch in on the Joseph communications, where one of the big points they're trying to make is that the souls that have incarnated into life as humans, life on earth, we've become addicted to the physical experience, so that we keep reincarnating, we keep coming back to life on earth, to life as humans, unnecessarily. We actually should be moving on to other dimensions, other forms of conscious experience, no longer bound up into kind of human incarnation, so that life on earth has become almost like a psychic whirlpool or a backwater. And that's one of their big thrusts, is to try to break the spell of human lifetimes. And I think that's where learning to rest in peace, healing yourself at that level, is profoundly valuable and important, because it breaks the spell of needing to come back to, stop the suffering, stop the abuse of power. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring that up, both to say, check out the Joseph communications, especially book 3, Life After Death, to understand more about, why you're here and how to break free of what we tend to think of as all we can do or all that is, when there's actually so much more available, so much more possible once we get off of this obsession with being human and life on earth, which, has its place, but it's not all there is. So anyway, those are my thoughts on life after death, healing past lives, and in particular, the Joseph communications and book 3, Life After Death. Take care. Bye.